Hello and thank you for joining us at Easy Cooking again. Today we're making a family favorite. It's a cheesy bread with eggs. It's a traditional Bulgarian bread. It's very good, and if you're a fan of feta, you're gonna love it. First, let's see what we need, and then we'll get started.
Yay!
For the dough, we need flour, warm water, plain yogurt, sugar, salt, yeast. Now that we know what we need, we can get started. Later we'll need a few more ingredients, but we'll get to that when we need it for the topping. So first we'll start by activating our yeast. We'll get our warm water. Make sure the water is not too hot because otherwise it's not really gonna activate the yeast. You want it warm, but you don't want to kill the yeast.
Can I put that in?
Sure, baby, here. Pour the sugar. We'll do the sugar. And with that, might as well do the salt as well. Natalie, you want to do the salt? Here you go, baby. Thank you, hon. Now let's give it a little stir. Make sure that sugar is mixed with the water.
Do this one.
We can leave our spoon in here.
Me hold it.
Daddy's gonna do these because I want to sprinkle it evenly on top. I want to make sure it's all nice. We're gonna sprinkle these on top of the water, kind of evenly, and we're gonna let it sit for 10 minutes. No more than that. You actually need anywhere between 5 and 10. Our yeast has activated. You can tell usually by looking at it. It's kind of a puffed up slime, so we know that it's good to go. At this point of time, we are going to actually add our flour. I'm just going to pour it gently in there. We are going to add our yogurt. And make sure to not use Greek yogurt actually. Greek style yogurt is a lot thicker and drier. You want to get yourself regular plain yogurt. It's a little runnier. It's got a little more juice to it. It's better for making doughs. Otherwise, you may have to increase your water inside your mixture to accommodate for the fact that you're using Greek yogurt. So, if possible, avoid it. But if you prefer Greek, add a little water if your dough gets too dry and too thick. So we're gonna mix this well. I like to mix with the spoon first, and once it's mixed well, then I'll finish it off, and we'll get it going here. Now this bread requires a I guess two-step rising process. First we'll let it sit for a full hour. Then we'll form and shape our bread. We'll put it in our pan that will bake it. Then we'll let it sit for another hour. And then we'll finally bake it. So it's a little longer process. I usually make this over the weekend because it takes a little longer time. And if I make it after work on a weekday, I'll be making it in the middle of the night. Okay, so this is almost done here. Okay. If you have a mixer, you can use your mixer to mix your dough too. You don't have to do it by hand. I'm just used to it this way. Honestly, I prefer to do it myself by hand. And actually, I'm gonna have to sprinkle a little more flour on it. It's just a little runny. So we'll do that to finish it off and make sure it's not too sticky. You don't want it to be too sticky. Let's see here. Yeah, we'll need a little more. I don't want to put too much. I don't want to make it too tough and hard, but let's pour a little more. Honestly, making breads and baking is not quite a science every single time. I mean, yes, you can pre-measure and try your best, but sometimes, depending on the consistency of ingredients that you're putting in, you may add an ingredient or two here and there, or a little extra flour, so don't be bothered by that. This is still a little too sticky. Pour some on my fingers to get that dough off of them. Okay, a little more. We need roughly 2 pounds of flour, which is about 5 cups, I think, but again, sometimes we need to add a little more. wash my hands and then we'll close it off and let it rise. Now that our dough is ready, sitting in the bowl, I actually used a little bit of a wheat type flour today, so my dough looks and feels a little different. I wanted to try it, see how it works. Okay, I do spray my dough with a little bit of grease because I don't like it when it dries out as it rises. I also sprayed a foil sheet on top because if it rises too much and it touches the foil, you don't want it to stick to it. So we're gonna go ahead and close it up. We'll leave it for an hour on room temperature and then we'll be back. Here we are an hour later, our dough is ready. Before we continue though, we need to prepare a couple of additional items that we need for the recipe. Let's see what we need for those items and then we'll continue. Butter. For dipping you need melted butter and olive oil. For the topping you need feta cheese, olive oil and eggs. First we'll mix our topping ingredients. We'll get our melted butter, we'll get the olive oil, we'll mix them together. I don't need a brush for this, I'll just take a little spoon to mix it. A little bit, because we'll be dipping really, we don't need a brush. We may need it later if we run low on this mixture. So we'll need this as we make our little dough balls. Then we are going to make our topping. I will whisk my eggs a little bit first. I usually use a fork because I don't need to turn the eggs into froth, and plus I'll use the fork to crumble my feta cheese. I just need to mix them a little bit. I do that because it makes for a better consistency of the whole topping. That way you don't have the egg white and egg yolk still separated and kind of baking on its own. Oh, that should be good. Then we'll put, you know what? We'll put the oil. I use olive oil. No reason to do anything else. Then we'll get our feta cheese. About half a pound is good, but if you go a little over, it's not gonna be the end of the world. It's actually just gonna make your bread just that much cheesier. So don't be shy on the cheese if you like feta cheese like myself. And again, feta cheese is not for everyone, but I promise you, you make that bread, you're not gonna want to eat any other breads ever. We make it around the holiday usually, so it's been a while since I've made it. And when it's cold, it's really a little better in the colder months in Michigan. So make sure this is nice and crumbled. If you have any big chunks, you can kind of stir and see and crumble them. Let's see, we have a couple more big chunks here and there. Press on it a little more. This bread is really good. Oh, there's a couple more over here. Okay. We'll mix it. We're not gonna need that fork anymore. So we have both of our additional items ready. At this point of time, I'm gonna get a nice round pan. If you don't have a round pan, any really baking pan will do. That's a decent size because your dough will rise again and it will take the volume of the pan. You want to pre-grease your pan, that way your dough does not stick to it. I just use a spray, cooking spray, any brand will do. Now, perfect. Our dough's about doubled in size. So at this point, I'm gonna push this aside. I'm gonna get my dough. First, I'm gonna grease my hand a little bit so that the dough doesn't stick to my hands. I'm gonna take it out. Oh my goodness. This is nicely fluffed. So this is what you want when your yeast activates. You want nice airy, fluffy dough, super soft. I'm gonna kind of make it into a skinny log, and then I'm gonna cut pieces. We'll make some balls, and then we'll arrange them in the pan after we dip them in this olive oil sauce. Okay. Let's see. You don't want to make the balls too big. The smaller you make your balls, the more feta cheese you're gonna have between them as you pour your topping on after that at the end. So that's about what you want out of it, really. Okay, let's start cutting. I'll start on this end. I would say about this size should be good enough. If you can see the size of the ball, pretty much it can fit in my palm. And you start arranging. Actually, I may have to make them a little bigger. We'll see. Let's see. Maybe this size. Oh yeah, we forgot to dip them in. Sometimes even I forget to do things. It's a good thing my wife is here to remind me. Let's see, maybe this size. We'll see. First, I'm just gonna cut it up and see what we get. So let's start cutting. They don't have to be all the same size, so don't beat yourself to pre-measure or weigh them or compare them. Just cut them into decent sizes. That first one may be a little too small actually, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get a little piece of dough. I'm gonna combine it with the first one. Okay, now you're gonna take your olive oil and your butter dipping sauce, and thank you, Caitlin. We're gonna arrange it. You know what? I can move over this way so I can see the whole process. Probably this is a little better. Okay. So no need to really do a whole lot with it. Just dip, shake, place it in baking pan. This is our last ball. We actually counted pretty good. It took the volume of our pan. I can kind of arrange it a little bit. Now, before I even wash my hands, because it makes no sense to wash them right now, even though I'm super greasy, we are going to pour our feta cheese, egg, and olive oil mixture right on top of it. I'm gonna start with a spoon, filling up the gaps and holes everywhere I see. We can move things around a little bit to get it nicely between all the pieces. Okay, now I think we have it all prepped. I'll wash my hands at this point. We'll cover it up and we'll let it rise again for another hour. I actually let this rise for an hour and 15 minutes, gave it a few extra minutes. So let's see. Oh boy. Oh, this is perfect. It's gorgeous. Hopefully you guys can see it on the camera. Oh, it's so nice.
I want to look.
So this is what you should expect to see. How does it look, Lily?
Good.
This is what you should expect when it's all ready to bake. What we're gonna do, we preheated our oven on 350. I'm gonna put it in, put the timer 1 hour, and then we'll let it finish. You know it's done when it's golden brown on top. You can stick a toothpick in it to make sure when it's done. Just don't undercook it. Make sure it's done well, but don't overcook it either because it will get too tough. So let's put it in. Be very careful. You want to be gentle with your bread because if you shake it too much, it can deflate. Gentle with the door. All right, timer on, and we'll see you in a bit. Okay. It's been actually only 45 minutes, and my bread is ready. I don't want to overcook it. My oven is a little stronger. If your oven is not as strong as mine, you may want to put up to an hour, but watch it. Give it 45 minutes, see how it is. And if you think it's done, great. If not, you can add another 15 minutes. This is what you should get as the end result. It looks really yummy. It smells really good.
Ooh, yummy.
We're all very excited here.
Oh, that smells good.
I am gonna butter it up a little bit.
Test.
I will let you taste it, Lily, but it just came out of the oven, pumpkin. So we'll butter it to get it a nice glaze. And then we're actually going to put some foil on top of it. Let it steam a little. That will make it even softer and more moist.
Butter.
That's not a trick everyone knows. So once we put the butter, we're gonna go ahead and close it so it can steam itself. This smells so good, you guys have no idea. And then it just pulls apart. All these little pieces just pull apart. You want to see it, Natalie? Look, baby. We're going to let it cool, okay? It just came out of the oven. And again, we'll put a little bit of foil. We're going to wrap it. It's hot, so be careful not to burn yourself. We're going to wrap it on the other side. Just like that. And we're good. We're gonna give it a try here in a few minutes. I usually let it sit for about half an hour like this. Make sure it's nice and steamed. All done? You guys excited? Mm-hmm. You wanna try the cheesy bread? Mm-hmm. You guys, it's ready. This is what it kind of looks like once it cools off. Very nice. Kind of golden. And I'll show you how easy it is to pull apart. This bread is really nice and soft. And the steaming process really helped.
Well, Mama, Daddy's was on purpose.
All right, let's get the first one. It's a little harder to get out because it's packed in there. But you look at the cheese. It's so good. Look at the cheese. It's nice and fluffy. It's moist. I mean, the steam is still coming up. It's still actually quite warm. Who wants to try a little bit of bread?
Me.
Here you go, babe. No. Here, Lily. What if Daddy tried a little bit of bread? You want this one? Wow, this is good. The crispy edge is nice. It's a little soft still because we steamed it. But it's so good, it just pulls apart. I mean, look at this. And you can, once you get the first one out, the rest will just come out of there. You want more, baby? Here you go. Like I said, this is one of our favorites. It's good, and you can really get carried away eating it, and it goes with anything. Very nice cheesy egg bread. Very popular in Bulgaria.
Daddy said cheesy egg again.
I said cheesy egg? Or did I say cheesy egg bread?
You said cheesy egg.
The crispy egg between the pieces is so good, and on the bottom. You guys enjoy it. Hopefully you like it. Subscribe to our channel if you enjoy our recipes. Share it with your family and friends, and I'll see you next time. Say bye, everyone.
Bye. Now I can do it.